Disregarding the draft lottery last night, the games were actually really good, and hey, praise to Jason Tatum. Hey, bro, you earned my respect at what you did last night. Put your whole fucking body on the fucking line just to lose the game, which sucks. Teams started selling again, like, the schemes, like, it's terrible. Like, look, I understand threes are worth more than two, but hey, 2 is worth more than 0. Keep that in mind. And I don't know, the head coach knows what an and 1 is. Nah, I'm just playing. I know when he knows about that, but come on, how about you start trying to, get and 1s. Try to make some close shots and have them foul you. So now Celtics are down 3-1, and so are the Golden State Warriors. The only series that is really interesting nowadays is pretty much Thunder and Nuggets. Those two teams play tonight, and that series is actually tied at 2 games apiece right now, so I'm actually literally looking forward to Game 5. As for every other series, Celtics are cooked, Cavs are cooked, Warriors, I wouldn't say they're cooked just yet, but it's not looking likely that they're going to come back from 3-1. I'm not saying it's not possible to come back from 3-1 because it's been done time and time again. I would know because Nuggets came back against the Jazz back in like the pandemic, the bubble playoffs. In fact, the Nuggets did that twice that year. That was before they won a championship a couple years later. That's all I got for basketball. Let's go to the football stuff. It's time to continue this season review and prediction videos series. Welcome back to Grizzly Talks Football, everybody. I'm the Grizz, and in this episode we got the American Athletic Conference, AAC for short, for the 2024 season reviews and 2025 predictions. Yes, sir, we are continuing this series with the group of 5 teams. If you haven't already, make sure you check the link in the description with the entire playlist so you guys will have every single episode I've uploaded up to this point, and you'll also have it for other videos, the other episodes than ever I post them, including the NFL season, which comes in a few months. Also, don't forget to hit the red subscribe button, hit the notification bell, so you don't miss a single one of my videos. Without further delay, I say we just get straight to the season reviews. Lots of you know the drill, but if you don't, let me give you the rundown. You got teams that are elite, of course. You got teams that are above average. You got teams that are decent, teams that are disappointing, and teams that were ass. Sound good? Perfect. Kicking these off, we got UAB Blazers. Ass. Victory lap on that one. Only notable victories were against Tulsa and Rice. That's it. UAB was blown out like 5 times during the entire regular season. That's horrible. Only close games really were against UConn and Charlotte. That's it. They were legitimately ass. And this is only the first team of the conference. I will say, however, quarterbacks weren't completely awful. Like 16 picks, 23 touchdowns, 3,000 yards. It's like okay. Lee Beebe Jr. had just under 900 rushing yards and 7 touchdowns, which isn't horrible. But you only got 2 guys with over 600 yards receiving, Amari Thomas and Cam Shanks, with 8 and 6 touchdowns respectively. And of course, nobody was drafted. You guys remember they were in Conference USA and they were actually pretty decent? Yeah, they've been past that now. Next you got the Rice Owls. I guess Rice only had like 1 good win. I would say they're on like the low end of disappointing. They were very close to being put in ass here, but the Navy win saved them. 4 and 8. Only wins other than that were against South Florida and UTSA by 2 points. Then they also played a team called Texas Southern. They were blown out by Sam Houston, Houston Army, lost by 1 to Charlotte, lost by 7 to UConn, lost by 7 to Memphis, and got smacked by UAB. I wish I had an inconsistent here because that's kind of how Rice's season went, except it was a little worse. EJ Warner wasn't completely trash, like 17 touchdowns, 13 picks, 2,700 yards isn't completely the worst. Dean Connors had just under 800 rushing yards and 9 touchdowns, and Matt Sykes led receiving with almost 800 receiving yards on 65 catches with 5 touchdowns. Once again, nobody got drafted. Like I said, you're going to see a lot of that in the group of 5 teams because they don't get the same respect as Power 5 schools. And next we got the Temple Owls. Ass. Man, Temple was freaking abysmal this year. Only wins on the season in the 3-9 campaign were against Utah State, FAU, and Tulsa. Not a single one of those victories came against teams that made a bowl game. They got blown out at every other game except maybe UConn, Coastal Carolina, and North Texas, but that's pretty much it. Passing game was okay, like 2,500 total yards, 16 touchdowns. If it wasn't for Forrest Brock's garbage play, 15 touchdowns, 9 picks for Everett Simon, though. Rushing game was abysmal. And on the receiving end, Dante Wright was literally the only player worth noting. 800 yards, 61 catches, and 6 touchdowns. Once again, nobody got drafted. Man, we are off to a rough start with the American Conference. And next we got the North Texas Mean Green, one of my other secondary schools. Decent. 6-7, unfortunately lost by 2 in the first responder bowl to Texas State out of Summel. Really? No one got drafted for North Texas once again. You know, so the North Texas actually started 5-1 this season, and then they lost 5 straight. Had to beat Temple to even make a bowl game, and they end up losing by 2. Lost to Army by 11, had a close games against Memphis and Tulane, got smacked by UTSA, got beat by 12 by East Carolina, obviously got destroyed by Texas Tech. I guess South Alabama was like the only team worth mentioning that they beat. At least Chandler Morris actually looked pretty good. 3,700 yards, 31 touchdowns, and 12 interceptions. Not terrible at all. Mackenzie McGill had 10 rushing touchdowns. Shane Porter had 650 yards with 5 rushing touchdowns. Then you got DT Sheffield with 800 receiving yards, 11 touchdowns on the season. Crazy. Man, we are starting off horribly. I mean, North Texas kind of picked it up, but nobody really in the higher tiers just yet. Next, we got the Navy Midshipmen. Oh, right on cue. Yep, they are absolutely going to be put in above average. 10-win season, beat Oklahoma in the Armed Forces Bowl. I know they were 66, but that's a huge accomplishment, beating a historically good school. Started that season 6-0. Fortunately, lost 2 straight. Then they lost in a shutout against Tulane. But they did salvage a season by taking down Army in the Army-Navy game by 18 points. Everybody knows that Navy and Army had no chance against Notre Dame. I'm getting to Army a little bit later. Passing stats were okay, but come on, this was a run-first offense for a reason. An option offense, should I say. Blake Horvath had a total of 2,500 yards, actually 2,600 yards, 30 total touchdowns, 13 passing, 17 rushing. Damn! And then, of course, Eli Heidenreich actually had just under 700 receiving yards with 6 touchdowns. And shockingly, only 1 player was drafted. That was Raywan Lane, the 3rd safety that went to the Jaguars. Surprised that a player from Navy got drafted. It was a very solid year for the Naval Academy when they've been, you know, in like the 50s or 40s. They've been consistently in the top 10 of the AP Bowls. But hey, welcome back, Navy, to the AP Bowl for like a brief moment. Up next, we got the East Carolina Pirates. Decent as well. 8-5 won against NC State in the Military Bowl, which is actually quite insane. By the way, Armed Forces Bowl and Military Bowl are 2 different things. Please don't get them mixed up. They actually started the season 3-4 with 2 stretches of losses in a row. But then they won their 4 of the last 5 games to make a bowl at 7-5 actually. Lost badly to Army, lost to Navy of course, then got blown out by Charlotte, and then lost to App State by 2? I don't even know what the hell happened there, East Carolina, but come on, get your act together. At least Kate Hauser was at least decent. 2,000 yards, 18 touchdowns, 11 picks. Of course, Jake Garcia had more interceptions than touchdowns. No surprise there. Rajay Harris actually had 1,200 yards and 11 touchdowns on the season on the ground. Pretty insane stuff. And then you got Anthony Smith with 800 yards and 6 touchdowns. Then they got Winston Wright with 8 receiving touchdowns on the season. Like Navy, East Carolina actually had 1 player drafted in the 3rd round by the Dallas Cowboys named Shaven Ravel. I hope I said that right. Cornerback who was a monster with 2 interceptions and I believe, I can't even see the pass defenses, but he had quite a lot of them. Cowboys believe in this guy, so maybe he can make a difference maker in the secondary. Up next, we got the South Florida Bulls. Yeah, best I could put them is decent. 7-6, won the Hawaii Bowl in 5 overtimes against San Jose State. What in the world happened? These guys literally started 2-4, got blown up by Miami, Alabama. They actually was playing well against Bama for 3 quarters, and then Alabama turned it up in the 4th quarter. Blown out by Memphis as well and Tulane. Then proceeded to win 4 of their last 6 to make a bowl game. Dude, I didn't even realize how much South Florida got blown out. They actually got blown out like a total of 5 times this season. And then they started blowing out the second half of their schedule like it was nothing. I cannot believe they did this, with Bryce Archie having let more interceptions than touchdowns, including 1,900 passing yards. Kelly Joyner at least was pretty good. 800 yards, 12 rushing touchdowns. Not too bad. And then Sean Atkins had 79 catches, 781 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Obviously, nobody was drafted from the squad at all. History lesson, you know their highest ranking of all time is number 2 back in 2007. They were undefeated, and then they had that unreal fall off that no one saw coming. Sucked to be a South Florida fan during that losing streak, but what can you do? The Big East was just something else. Please bring this back. My gosh. Next up, we got the Tulane Green Wave. I cannot put them at decent. I gotta put them in above average. Made the American Conference Championship only to get smacked by Army, and then lost badly to Florida in the Gasparilla Bowl. They really had a good thing going besides the 2 losses to ranked opponents, close loss to Kansas State in Yeoman Stadium, and also a close 15-point loss against 15th ranked Oklahoma. Then they went 9-2 and then ended up losing every last one of their games to go 9-5, the last 3 games of the season. Rough year to be a Tulane fan, I would say. Not completely rough, but it was really just high hopes and then all went to shit. Darian Mensah, I think he was a freshman at the time, 2,700 yards, 22 touchdowns, and 6 picks. Not too shabby, man. Mekhi Hughes had 1,400 rushing yards and 15 touchdowns. Sheesh. And then, of course, Mario Williams, the USC transfer, had just over 1,000 yards with 6 touchdowns. Oh yeah, then Alex Bowman existed with 7 receiving touchdowns. 2 corners were drafted from Tulane, Caleb Ransaw to the Jags and Micah Robinson to the Packers, and that was the pick that Tom Grossi announced at the draft. Wonder what Mr. Summerall's got in store for that Tulane program for the future. Hopefully it's going to be good things coming up. You know, if Willie Fritz would have just stayed, they would have probably had 3 straight 10-win seasons, but can't always have nice things, can you, Tulane? Up next, we got the Tulsa Golden Hurricane.
Ass.
Victory lap on that one. Ever since Zaven Collins led them in the pandemic year to perhaps a ranking in the polls, they've just never been good since. 3-9, I think dead last in the entire American Conference. Only wins were against Louisiana Tech and a 1-point win against UTSA. Lost to Arkansas State. Lost badly to Oklahoma State, North Texas, Army, UAB, South Florida, and FAU. Their defense was absolutely atrocious. Those guys allowed 42.5 points a game. 500 yards a game. That is horrible. Quarterbacks combined for 2,700 yards, 21 touchdowns, and 12 picks. I guess it wasn't too bad. Rushing game for the most part was non-existent. Then you got Camden Benjamin with 800 receiving yards, 70 catches, and 6 touchdowns. No surprise here, nobody got drafted. What are you doing on defense, Tulsa? Have you been taking lessons from Lincoln Riley? Speaking of ass, here comes Florida Atlantic Owls.
Ass.
I forgot how many Owl teams were in the American Conference. Also, what the hell is Wichita State doing here? I'm definitely not putting them in the video, of course, because they're not FBS in football. I think I know what happened here. I think somebody did the basketball thing, not the football thing. That's why I'm not putting them in there. Wichita State was actually a pretty good basketball school for a long time. Anyways, we're getting off topic. Let's get back to FAU. Of course, they were ass. 3-9. Only wins came against in-state rival FIU, an FCS school, and Tulsa. There was literally nothing good to say about this school. This was just terrible season for them. Quarterback stats were pretty bad. At least CJ Campbell did some dirty work. 850 rushing yards, 11 touchdowns, and that's pretty much it. As expected, nobody got drafted. Up next, we got the Army Black Knights. Look, man, I always put playoff teams in elite tier, but for this specific conference, I'm going to make an exception. Go ahead and cue it for me.
Elite!
Won the American Conference, beat Louisiana Tech pretty badly. They were actually a 5-17 that they went up against in the Independence Bowl. Actually, only lost to Notre Dame and Navy, who were once ranked. But then went medieval on everybody else to go 12-2 and be ranked in the AP poll. What an incredible season besides Air Force for the military schools. I was so excited to get to Army because I needed to talk about their quarterback Bryson Daly. Heisman candidate for good reason because he had 1,600 rushing yards, 9 passing touchdowns, but get this, 32 rushing touchdowns. Nobody in the NFL has ever gotten that many, and he's already done it in college. I mean, NFL's a lot harder than college, so it makes sense, but you get the deal. Kanye Udo actually had over 1,000 yards with 10 touchdowns as well, so that was pretty good for him. Obviously, this was also an option offense, so that's why the run game was just so good. And shockingly, nobody was drafted from Army. But then again, they are a military school, so it kind of makes sense. I gotta be honest with you, this season kind of came out of nowhere. Will Army be able to keep that up? Probably not. They're probably never gonna find a guy like Bryson Daly again. 3 teams left. Next up, we got the Charlotte 49ers. They were just disappointing. They did start 3-3, then they lost 4 straight games to lose out on bowl eligibility, and then they won their final 2 games like it mattered. So their final regular season record was 5-7. The only team that they really beat that really was a big impactful one was against Eastern Carolina by 31 points. Other than that, the team just, existed. Deshaun Purdy was like okay, 1,800 yards, 10 touchdowns, 6 bigs, nothing too special. Rushing again, you had 2 players with 500 rushing yards and 7 touchdowns each. And then Omega Blake, what a freaking name. 800 receiving yards and 9 touchdowns on the receiving end. Unsurprisingly, nobody was drafted from the school. I think you guys get it by now. Next up, we got the Memphis Tigers. I am definitely comfortable saying that Memphis was above average. 11-2, once again competing, finishing in the AP poll in the final one. Only losses were against UTSA and Navy, both were road games. Beat a ranked Tulane in Yeoman Stadium. Actually beat Florida State, which, oh come on, that team won 2 games. Also beat West Virginia out of the Big 12 in the Frisco Bowl to secure an 11-win season. Memphis has always been above average in the American. It's just, I don't know, like, nobody really wants them in the Power 5. Power 4. But time and time and again, they're actually a really good Group of 5 team every single year almost. Seth Hennigan had a pretty good season, 3,500 yards, 25 touchdowns to 6 picks. Mario Anderson had a bonkers stat line of 1,400 rushing yards with 18 rushing touchdowns. Damn. Then you got Rod Taylor, who had just under 1,000 yards and 2 touchdowns, with 6 touchdowns going to Demir Blakency. And the only guy drafted out of Memphis was actually Mr. Irrelevant, Mr. Kobe Minor, corner going to the Patriots. I expect Memphis to be right back where they were as contenders. And finally, we got the UTSA Roadrunners. A couple years ago, they were actually one of the best teams in the Group of 5, but this year, well, they were decent. Remember, like, what was it, 2022, I think? When UTSA started the season 11-0, ranked in the playoff polls, and then they lost to the Bing Green in North Texas, and then lost 2 of their last 3. That was 100% UTSA's best season by far. They're definitely on their way to declining back to, the obscurities of the Group of 5, but it was fun while it lasted. 7-6, they beat Coastal Carolina badly in the Myrtle Beach Bowl. I believe that was in Conway. Besides the games against Texas State and Texas, they actually played pretty nicely in conference competition. I think they only lost by more than 1 score one time. That was to Eastern Carolina. I call East Carolina Eastern Carolina, but I probably should call them ECU, right? Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, every single one of those conference losses were road games. Oh wait, no, every single game they lost were on the road. And by the way, UTSA's only road win was in the bowl game. Undefeated at home, winless on the road in the regular season, but ended up winning the bowl game, which is nice. Oh, McCown was okay. I mean, 25 touchdowns, 10 picks, 3,500 yards wasn't terrible. And then there's Robert Henry with 700 yards, 7 touchdowns on the ground. Brandon Hyde Jr. had 8 rushing touchdowns. And then Willie McCoy led receiving with 500 yards and 4 touchdowns. And one player actually was drafted. That was Zaw Frazier, corner, went to the Chicago Bears. I actually did kind of enjoy seeing UTSA being on top of the group of 5 conferences, but they haven't made a bowl game quite yet. Liberty made one in Conference USA before UTSA did to the Americans, so that kind of sucks. I'd love to see them compete for the group of 5 bid again sometime soon. That's all for the 2024 season reviews. Let's get to the 2025 predictions. Here we go with the 2025 American Conference predictions. Let's start with UAB. From the listener schedule, besides Tennessee, Navy, and Army, this is not a bad schedule for them, a lot easier than the last one. But still, I feel like UAB is going to be lucky to make a bowl. I would say like 4-8 or 5-7 this year, as far as this upcoming season. Oh yeah, and I also forgot to mention Memphis. I feel like Alabama, State, and Akron should be easy wins, along with Army and Navy and Tennessee being guaranteed losses, but other than that, conference play should be a little up and down for the Blazers. Memphis is like the one guaranteed loss that I would have, even though it is in Birmingham. All the other 6 games from this slate are definitely winnable, but they're also very losable. But then again, this is Trent Dilfer's squad that we are looking at right now. It's not going to be pretty for the Blazer community. At least Caleb Brown's a nice addition from the Big Ten to the offensive production, even though getting a receiver from Iowa isn't exactly the greatest thing in the world. Next up, we've got the Rice Owls. Victory lap on this one. Rice is going to be a bottom feeder. They're just not exactly that good at all. I don't think they've been good since, 2013 when they won a Conference USA title? The fact that they were able to get to the American Conference is actually nuts to me. I've almost always been, near the bottom ever since, those 70s and 80s seasons when they were in the Southwest Conference, when they were usually sometimes right around the top half, or halfway. It's been a little inconsistent, but ever since then, they've been pretty much bottom feeders every single year. Even JT Daniels couldn't save this squad. This team is doomed. I know you can't see the Rice logo, but they're in bottom feeders right in that category. Next up is Temple. Casey Keeler is coming from Sam Houston to try to turn around Temple again. I would say more of the fact that they're lucky to make a bowl, right around that category at 5-7. It's going to take a while for Temple and him to make amends and connect, but I'm sure it'll be worth it. There were actually quite a bunch of players from Sam Houston that followed KC to Temple, so maybe this could be a good thing for the Owls. Next up is the Mean Green. North Texas, I would say, is more decent. They're right in the middle. I would say bowl game ceiling and right around middle of the pack. I'm gonna say 7-5. Not exactly being contenders just yet. Not exactly being above average, but they're kind of close. Defense is more experienced. Offense does need some parts to be successful, but we got a QB battle in North Texas. Drew Mestamaker's coming back, but there's also a guy named Poffenbarger that's going to be coming in. His name is Reese Poffenbarger. So that should be an interesting QB battle for the Mean Green. Up next is Navy. I would say they're about above average. I'll say 8-4, 9-3, something like that. They do have a lot of experience at the offensive game. Let's hope they're a little bit right where they were last year. I'm trying to go by this quick so that I don't waste y'all's time. East Carolina is next. East Carolina lost quite a bunch of players. I would say more the fact that they would go 6-6, maybe 5-7, but I would say bowl game ceiling is best for the Pirates. Speaking of which, the transfer portal completely killed them this season, so it's going to be hard for the Pirates to really step it up a gear. Next up, we got South Florida. I think it's definite to say that they're definitely mid-table. I'll say bowl game ceiling. Maybe like 7-5, 8-4. A lot of projections are saying that USF is actually going to make a big jump this upcoming season. I got to see it to believe it. They did their work in the transfer portal in the offseason, so maybe they can make a good push. Like I said before, we got to see it to believe it. Up next, we got Tulane. Easily contenders. I mean, there is no question about that statement. I'll probably say 10-2, 11-1. They did have kind of a down year with Summerall, but I think a lot of people expected that. But now that he's got more experience with the Green Wave, maybe he should start turning it around a minute. Defense is expected to go crazy, but the offense needs to really find their footing with Ty Thompson coming back. Next, we got Tulsa. I'll be real with you, yeah, I feel like they are definitely going to be bottom feeders again. I mean, it can't get any worse than what happened last year on defense, can it? Offense can score points, but you're going to have to score more points than the other team if you want to win some games, which that's near to impossible. Just ask the Bengals. Up next, we got FAU. It's going to take a while for Zach Kitley to get his Houston Baptist offensive place to be able to start getting things going. I'll probably say lucky to make a goal game, maybe like 4-8. They're not going to be good right away. It's almost near impossible to be good right from the jump. But they are going to make some progress, so that's going to be good. Up next, we got the Army Black Knights. Last year's champs without Bryson Daly, I feel like they're going to be above average, like around 9-3, maybe 8-4. They for sure can make a bowl game, but they're not going to be nearly as good as they were just the year before. Next, we got Charlotte. The 49ers blew it up, and they're just starting right over. I expected to be bottom feeders. It's rebuilding time for Charlotte. Next, we got Memphis. Easy stuff. They're going to be contenders once again. Brandon Lewis in the transfer portal, and also an edge defender from Rhode Island is going to be crazy. I think Memphis could definitely still be a 10-win team. And finally, of course, you got UTSA. I'll probably say around 75, maybe 84. Not quite above average just yet, but more middle of the pack. Guess I was trying to rush in. I just didn't think to put middle of the pack over in the middle category. That's just my fault. Defense took a couple hits, but the offense caught some fire. They are more experienced now, so watch out for the Roadrunners this upcoming season. Anyways, that is going to do it for the 2025 predictions. Here is your American Conference, ladies and gentlemen. Good luck. And hope to God that you can get a team in the playoff. That's going to do it for this episode of Grizzly Talks Football. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure you give it a big thumbs up. Hit the red subscribe button, hit the notification bell, so you don't miss a single one of my videos. This is the Grizz, signing off for now. Until next time, I will see you guys later. Peace!